roughly maybe possibly as high as 4%. I'm not sure if they will have those numbers pinned down tomorrow when they come out with the draft plan. Hopefully, we will see how that is going. And then, of course, we've all heard about the EPA's carbon reduction rule that is supposed to cause massive chaos. But really, that is a very modest goal that the EPA has set for the state of Missouri. Nationwide, across the U.S., the EPA is calling for a 30% of electricity to come from renewables by 2030, 30% by 2030. Only 21% from the state of Missouri by 2030. And if you know how global warming is going and the rapidly rising rates of CO2 that have doubled from 200 parts per million to 400 parts per million, and we're already looking at close to 2 degrees C rise in temperature, which is above the safe level for the planet. So we really need to get to 80% renewables by 2050 or faster if we possibly can, and we can. We absolutely can. So Show Me Solar is working on some new business models that could work to make solar affordable for more homeowners and businesses. Now, first I should mention that one thing that the state of Missouri has done in the past year is to bring in a new very large, I think it's the 3rd largest solar installer in the country from California, Sungevity. And they're getting set up in Kansas City. And I think their business model is more of a lease purchase option. So you don't own the system up front. Your costs up front will be lower and will be more affordable, but long range you will pay more, I believe. And I haven't seen their numbers and run them. But so they will be creating 600 new jobs in solar in the state of Missouri, and that's wonderful. Of course, we're in the process of losing, thousands of jobs that we hope to create in solar, and that's terrible. And we really haven't heard a good answer from the state of Missouri, not from the governor's office, not from the legislature, not from the Public Service Commission, about what we need to do to save those jobs. But they do have a vested interest, and as do the investor-owned utilities, in not letting solar go away entirely. So I've just come from the state capitol where they are looking at some bills that would help solar advance the net metering. There's a couple of different net metering bills that would basically allow you to, like, the analogy is your carryover minutes from month to month, but when you overproduce right now in any given month, the investor-owned utilities cut off your excess production. They give you a wholesale credit at the rate of about 2 cents a kilowatt hour, which we're paying more, about 10 cents a kilowatt hour is the retail rate. So now they will if this net metering bill passes, then they would allow you to build up your excess energy. If you install a solar system, of course, your excess solar energy production, you can get credit over the course of an entire year before you can get cut off. So that would be one benefit, but now they've just tacked on a provision or an amendment to that same bill that would charge solar energy owners a fixed rate. It might be roughly $25 a month. But that is something that, detracts from the financial benefits of producing solar, which are many both for the homeowners as well as for the grid and for the ratepayers and for the, everyone in the state of Missouri to have that increased energy production, during the hottest part of the summer, the hottest part of the day, when the biggest energy requirements kick in for air conditioning, which along with heating are the biggest users of electricity in the state of Missouri. So what Show Me Solar is ramping up right now. There are a couple of different concepts that economies of scale, basically. So one is a group buy that could be as low as a 25 kilowatt system on up to a 50 or 100 kilowatts or more. As many people as want to go in on putting solar on their house and owning it, but they would all pool their resources to buy all of the equipment and to install the solar system. So there are some really significant savings that can be had there. And then through 2016, there is still the 30% federal energy tax credit, or renewable energy tax credit, that people would have over and above that. So that is looking like a pretty good possibility. And then one that might be even a little better is a community solar, similar model to the is it the history? Hitsville. Yeah, that there would be investors going in, for maybe roughly $2,500 a piece to put in a 100 or 200 or 250 kilowatt system, which would power 10 or 20 or 30, provide all the solar power for 10 or 20 or 30 systems. Plus, if you put it on a good sized piece of land, then you have room to grow and add to it. And so the original investors would be looking at a payback of roughly 10 years, which the return on investment is the inverse of the payback period, so that's a 10% return on investment. And I'm talking in ballpark round numbers, to give you an idea.
When do you think this will be kind of nailed down so that people can get more information? And how would they get more information on this?
Well, we're just starting. We had our first group start meeting about a month ago. But yeah, we've got, we just need to get your contact information and we'll keep you informed.
What's your contact information? What is your contact information?
I have cards that I.
So they would get through Show Me Solar.
Through Show Me Solar.
There's
ShowMeSolar.org
Okay.
is right on the website.
Very
That's
good.
direct online.
So Molly,
That's very
one
cool.
of the things that you're saying is possible in this is that a small group of people could get together and basically kind of develop their own power grid, and they would,
Microgrid, yes.
yeah, and then they would feed their excess back into the grid for whomever
Yes.
else could use it. Could they sell out of that grid, or would they be locked in to their own little grid? And if you could do that for a small group of people, I wonder what it would take for each home, each business to become its own power source. And it seems in the long run of things it strikes me that that's what needs to happen, is that each home, each business needs to have its own power source. And then if something happens, well, okay, so maybe you've got a few homes over here or a few businesses that are out of power, but not everybody's out in a great, huge area. I don't know. You know, you listened to me at the PSC hearings that night, and I was pretty incensed by Ameren, because I feel like they're behind the scenes manipulating all of this.
Well,
And-
they are, and
Yeah.
they're very successful at getting the kind of legislation that will limit the extent to which homeowners and businesses, they simply, the legislation in Missouri will not allow a homeowner or a business to install more
Right.
energy than they themselves use and sell it back to the grid. Now, you
And they won't
can't,
let you install it. This is the other thing, the other little, something that strikes me as a scam. They won't let you become your own installer. You have to go to a certified installer, which may or may not know any more than some people I know about doing that. And, well, you know, I have this story
Well-
about having them come to my home, and with the rebates and all, it was still, they want the rebates, the installer, and for 14 panels on my roof, it was $29,000. Now, I don't know if you all got $29,000 just sitting around to put on the roof of your house so you can have reduced energy costs, but, I mean, I'll have to live to be about 800 years old to ever get my money back on that deal. And I just am like, I was just nonplussed by that. I mean, I just couldn't get over it. And you know what he asked me? He said, well, how much would you pay? As if somehow this were just a figure they pulled out of thin air. I just couldn't get over the solar installer, the certified installer, their price. And the reason I knew just a little bit about it is because my brother's installed some solar panels to run things like electric fences out in the country where he is. And he installs them himself, and he's like, this isn't rocket science. Anybody could do this. He said, I could just put an inverter on your electric panel, and I know I could do that. And I was just like, $29,000. I don't know. I was just, and I know Ameren's behind all this. Their game is always we win and you lose. I basically said that at the PSC hearing. That's Ameren's game, is we win under any and all circumstances, and you, the consumer, you lose.
well, you can install your own solar. I have taken some classes. I can't install.
But if you want to
my
feed back
own
into their
solar.
grid, if
I
you want
have-
to feed back into their grid, which you're probably going to have to do, they want you to have one of their certified installers.
Yes, and I mean, when you install solar, you are putting an electrical power plant, on your
Right.
roof or property. And it's sitting out in the sun, generating electricity. You really do want, even if you set up all the racking and install the solar module, you do want to certify a professional electrician to hook you up to the grid, because that's a
There are
lot
all kinds of electricians that could do that, though. There are all kinds
Sure.
of people that could do it.
Yeah,
I mean, these certified installers, that, in my opinion, that was just a racket between Ameren and all those certified installers, and they made a killing off of the installation while they had all these rebates, because they wanted all your rebates. You didn't get that rebate. They didn't quote you a price for the installation of that minus, your rebate. They wanted the rebate too. So never mind I would get $9,000 rebate, they wanted that rebate. That was a cost with the rebate, so it's like,
I think the rebates did lend themselves to somewhat inflated pricing. Now, we want solar, we want renewable energy, not just to, save us from climate change, but also to be a great job creator and create all kinds
Yeah,
of good,
of course.
high-paying jobs all across a broad spectrum of the economy, and they can do both. So but what you're saying is part of an ongoing debate, and my position is that all the government subsidies that go to coal and nuclear that are basically covered up, that we don't know about. One that I just heard about is that the U.S. government, the citizens of the United States, charge companies like Peabody Coal $1 a ton for coal off of public lands. Now, I mean, that's one of many subsidies,
The federal
tax
government
credits,
does
the low income housing energy assistance program is billions of dollars that go from federal funding through, people who can't afford to pay their electric bills
It's a
straight into
pass-through,
the
it's a
investor
pass-through
owned
to the
utility
electric company.
pockets. There's many, many different government subsidies that coal and nuclear have enjoyed